The writing is on the wall for two young and restless exes to drift back together in the wake of recent events. But an enormous obstacle looms on their quest to find love again, one that may just prove insurmountable. As Victoria mourns the death of Cole, everyone, including Amelia Heinle, has been eyeing her next love interest. While Vicky and Billy shared a close moment recently, he's not the ex that will be her likely rematch. Instead, it's someone else reeling from loss. You guessed it, Victoria and Nate seem destined to pair up again. They've already begun leaning on each other after clearing the air about the way their relationship ended in the past. To refresh your memory, Nate was let go from Newman Enterprises after Victor wrongfully accused him of trying to have him committed. Victoria and Nate's romance fizzled under the pressure of that particular explosion, as one might expect. So, yes, Victor would be an obstacle to them getting back together, but not in the way you might expect. While Nate may have some lingering animosity toward Victoria's father for his actions back in the day, it's more recent events that could prove problematic. Nate now knows that Victor struck a deal with Audra to seduce Kyle in return for funding her startup. And whether she comes clean or not, it's likely to spell the end of their relationship. This would free him up to reunite with Victoria, but he's sure to be none too pleased with her father, which could get their reconciliation off to a disastrous start. Victoria has proven herself well able to handle a relationship in which her man doesn't care for her father, but if Nate takes it a step further and confronts the mustache, Victor will react to being called out by making it his mission to keep them apart. The mutual animosity between the men could prove to be an insurmountable obstacle to Nate and Victoria's happiness, given she's hardly going to be up for navigating another war at this stage of the game. That said, we kinda like the idea of Victoria and Nate being paired up anew, as it would have implications across the canvas beyond the tension with her father. Kane may have to alter course due to the new tie between Winters and Newman Enterprises. Audra would be apoplectic, leaving Sally to try and keep her on course at Abbott Communications, and Holden might find himself torn between his ex and his current crush, Claire. Nikki will be pulled in to try and keep the peace yet again, and Lily will surely have an opinion given she's still bruised from the Newmans screwing her over. Do you think Victoria and Nate should get back together? Vote! Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop for Thursday, August 21st, reveals Victor Newman will accept Claire Newman's relationship with Kyle Abbott. Also coming up, after consulting Devin Winters, Nate Hastings will make a decision. Plus, Audra Charles will vent to Sally Spectra, and Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins will warn their son. Y&R spoilers tease Devin will tell Nate he's cleaned out his whole day, so they can talk. It's Audra. She may be as untrustworthy as everyone warned me she is, Nate will reply to. He'll tell Devin about Claire's accusation that Audra had a deal with Victor to seduce Kyle. Audra defended herself, insisting Kyle came on to her. So, Devin will ask Nate if he believes Audra or Claire. Nate will say he wants to believe Audra, but Claire has no reason to lie. Nice seems to be the epicenter of it all. He'll add there's more. Claire caught Kyle and Audra sharing a kiss at Society. Devin will say he can see why Nate's head is spinning. If it's between the three of them, Claire, Kyle, and Audra, the person I'm going to trust the least is Audra, he'll add. Devin will also say she and Kyle were very friendly in Nice, but he'll advise him to go with his gut and ask what he believes. A big part of me is afraid to give that answer, Nate will reply. At Crimson Lights, Audra will meet with Sally to discuss the launch, but Sally will realize something's wrong. That witch Claire dropped the bomb on Nate, Audra will say. She told him everything about my deal with Victor. She'll say the moment Nate was alone at the bar, Claire was on him. That psycho's not as pathetic as I thought. She just laid it all out there, so proud of herself, Audra will add. She has no idea that her boyfriend was just a towel away from going all the way. Sally will ask what Nate thinks. He slept on the couch, she'll reply, adding she slipped up by mentioning Victor to him. Audra will add she's just protecting Nate. Well, maybe lying is not the best way to do that, Sally will reply. She'll compare it to when Adam Newman cheated on her and withheld the truth. But in the end, the lying just made it worse, Then Nate will show up and Sally will leave. Audra will suggest they need to enjoy the day together and forget everything. However, Nate can't do that. He'll tell Audra her story doesn't make sense. There are too many holes. You're lying to me. At the ranch, Nikki Newman will see that Victor is troubled. She'll ask what he's thinking about, and he'll admit it's Claire and Kyle. It's time to settle this once and for all, he'll add. Then he'll leave. Meanwhile, Claire will tell Victoria Newman that she exposed Audra to Nate. How did he take it? She'll ask. Claire will say she hopes it sunk in. But she'll add that Audra tried to blame Kyle, and she wasn't letting her get away with it. Did Nate believe you? Victoria will ask. She'll say she's not sure. There'll be a knock at the door, and it'll be Victor, saying he's there to see Claire privately. I came here to tell you I will no longer stand in the way between you and Kyle, Victor will tell his granddaughter. A surprised Claire will ask why he's changed his mind. You and I have one thing in common. We both grew up without parents, Victor will reply. We grew up without love. I just want to protect you. Claire will embrace him and tell him she loves him. Please forgive me, he'll say. At society, Kyle will tell Diane and Jack that Audra kissed him in front of Claire. Jack will ask how she handled it. She's standing by me, but I saw her doubt. Then Kyle will say the kiss Audra planted wasn't the first. It happened in Nice. However, it was a ploy to bait Audra, but he hasn't told Claire. This is the kind of white lie that will come back to bite you, Diane will say. Kyle will say if he tells Claire now it'll make him look guilty. Get out in front of this thing before Audra gets in Claire's head, Jack will advise. Then Kyle will get a call from Victor, summoning him to the ranch. Finally, Kyle will arrive at the ranch and Victor will say he put him to the test and he passed. You convinced me that you truly love my granddaughter, so now I will step aside. Kyle will tell him he's grateful and he'll swear to never hurt Claire. Victor will say he hopes not, but he'll warn Kyle he'll be watching him. Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that there may be one thing that could help Kane Ashby win Lily Winters back. Could a big twist be the answer to Kane's problems when it comes to the reunion he's seeking? Kane desperately wants a future with Lily, but he hasn't given her any real reasons to trust him again. It's easy to see why Lily's wary considering all the ways Kane hurt her in the past and all the lies he's told. Lily also wasn't happy with Kane's decision to reconnect with Colin Atkinson before his demise. Kane's Aristotle Dumas deception and the chaos of everything that played out in Nice didn't do him any favors either. However, Kane isn't ready to give up on scoring his next chapter with Lily. Despite Lily's repeated rejections, Kane is holding out hope that maybe he can wear Lily down and convince her to give him another chance. Kane would love nothing more than to reunite with Lily romantically and rebuild their family with the twins, at least once he convinces Maddie Ashby and Charlie Ashby to forgive him too. That brings us to the twist that might help Kane achieve his personal goals, which he's admitted are more important to him than his professional ones. At some point, Y&R may let Kane land in grave danger. There could be a story-related curveball ahead that puts Kane's life on the line. For example, Kane could be involved in a car crash or some other type of accident. It's even possible a mysterious enemy could come after Kane and leave him seriously injured. Lily needs something that'll help tear down the walls she's built when it comes to Kane. Almost losing Kane forever could help with that and lead to some great hospital bedside scenes. We could certainly imagine Lily begging comatose Kane to open his eyes in a situation like that. Lily might tearfully bargain with Kane and offer a reunion if he'll just come back to her. This seems like the kind of thing that could rock Lily to the core and give her a wake-up call about how much she still loves her ex-husband. In other words, the answer to Kane's reunion problems could be a near-death experience that shows Lily just how much she has to lose. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Lily will get updates on some other shocking Kane news as their storyline moves along, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless episode on August 20th, 25, had Claire exposing Audra's scheme to Nate, while Chelsea and Adam strategized, and Tessa and Daniel shared a special moment. Sally and Billy took a break from jogging in Chancellor Park. The red-headed beauty mentioned the idea of a party to debut Abbott Communications. She asked Billy to be her date. Sally said they were ready to launch next week. She teased that she had a secret weapon, Audra Charles. Billy wanted to know how Sally was available. Sally fudged to Billy that Audra saw the pitfalls of working with Victor. She pointed out that Audra would be loyal to a fault. Billy said it's good to have a COO in whom you can believe. Sally said Audra won't stop until she comes out on top. Sally said that if she weren't so busy, she'd try to talk Billy out of regaining Chancellor Industries. She added that she'd be doing her best to undo Newman Media's attack on Billy. The Abbott heir appreciated Sally's support. She wondered how he'd handle it if Kane became a problem, or if he failed in his efforts to regain Chancellor Industries. Billy teased that he had his very own secret weapon that would cause both Victor and Kane to lose. Sally said she felt a little odd running a company with a name on it that wasn't hers. Billy kidded that they could call the company Spectra Communications. Sally said the problem was a lot of pressure, running a family company that wasn't her family's. Billy told her not to worry. At the Jazz Lounge, Chelsea and Adam strategized over what Kane might do now that Newman Media has exposed him as Aristotle Dumas. Chelsea agreed with Adam that they need to stay on high alert. She wondered if Charlie and Maddie had been told the truth before the news hit. Adam shrugged that Kane and Lily had plenty of time to notify their kids. Chelsea assured Adam that she wasn't concerned about Kane, but she was trying to get inside his head. "We lit a fuse under Kane that's ready to explode," Chelsea cautioned. Adam wished Kane would make his move. Chelsea wondered if Kane would become an ally of the Newmans against the Abbotts. Adam said Kane didn't strike him as the type of guy who was trying to gain alliances. Adam told Chelsea that she has amazed him again, as she is ready to dig into conflicts with Kane. Chelsea said she had a certain set of skills from her grifting days that might come in handy. She hastened to add that it'd be all legal. Adam mused that she shouldn't rule anything out. Adam was happy to hear that Chelsea sees threats to the Newmans as a threat against her and Connor. Adam said he wasn't on board with befriending Kane, as Victor is having Nick try and do. Chelsea cautioned Adam against crossing his family in their battle against Kane. Adam shared that he was thinking of hitting Kane from a different angle. Just then, Sally and Billy, changed from their jog, entered the lounge. Sally ripped into Adam and Chelsea, telling them she was disappointed that they stabbed Billy in the back in their Kane is Dumas article. Sally wanted to know what happened to Chelsea, who had talked about making the world a kinder and gentler place. Adam pointed out that there wasn't one thing in the article that wasn't true. Adam asked if he'd missed a few of Billy's epic failures in the article. Billy told Chelsea there was time for her to get out. Chelsea congratulated Sally on running Abbott Communications. Adam gave a backhanded compliment to Billy when he told him that he doubted he was smart enough to put Sally in charge of Abbott's media company. Chelsea asked what Billy was going to be doing if Sally were in charge of Abbott Communications. Billy revealed that he'd enlighten Chelsea and Adam soon. Billy said his news would come out via Abbott Communications, from where all big news would. Adam downplayed Billy's talk, but Chelsea had a sense that Billy had something going on for real. Meanwhile, Tessa, Claire, Holden, and Daniel continued having a good time at Society, the eatery. Holden recounted his time in Los Angeles when he tried out for a reality show. Alas, he dated and ghosted one of the decision-makers, so he wasn't cast on the program. Holden said he was young, and the casting person went on to have a great career. Daniel advised Holden not to repeat that story on future dates. Holden said it might show that he was honest. Claire concurred. The levity was dampened a bit when Holden and Claire spied Audra and Nate's arrival. Claire lamented that she was having fun till Audra showed up, but noted that she shouldn't be because she's still mourning. Holden told her it was okay to have fun. Holden suggested they not let Audra ruin their evening. Nate told Audra he wanted to say hi to Claire since she's going through a difficult time because she lost Cole. Claire told Nate that she was doing okay, all things considered. She gave condolences to Nate. Claire refused to give in to her grief. Daniel and Tessa gave Nate their condolences on Damien. Daniel offered to lend a supportive ear as he was going through his grief over Heather. Nate and Audra headed to their table. Nate went to the bar to get them drinks. Tessa noticed Claire glaring at Audra. She asked Claire what was going on. Claire apologized in advance for making a scene, as she has had it with Audra. Claire joined Nate at the bar. She told him there was something he needed to know. "It's Audra," Claire began. "Your girlfriend made a deal with my grandfather for funding her company in exchange for getting Kyle to cheat on me. With her." Audra beelined to the bar just in time to hear the tail end of Clary's accusation. Audra quickly challenged Claire and said that Kyle was the one who was coming on to her. She said that Kyle nuzzled her neck and applied sunscreen to her. Audra claimed that Kyle's fragile ego was hurt when she rejected him. Claire brought up the recent kiss Audra planted on Kyle at Society. Nate wanted to know why he was just learning about this smooch now. Audra said she didn't want to upset him and that Kyle had kissed her. Claire countered that Audra initiated the lip lock. Audra maintained her stance that this was all Kyle's doing. "She is ruthless and she is selfish," Claire said of Audra before exiting. Claire thanked Holden for the drink and exited Society. Holden followed her. Meanwhile, Audra told a stunned Nate that Claire told outright lies. Nate said he was dealing with a lot. "I know it's been hard," Audra said. She hated that Nate and Amy were in pain and that Claire dumped a pack of lies on him. She asked Nate if he believed her. He claimed to be emotionally spent. He hoped to take comfort by spending time with Audra. "I just wanted a few hours to escape all the pain and grief," Nate said. He asked Audra what she expected him to say. Audra wondered if Nate believed her over Claire. She pointed out that she had a tough day watching Amy grieve Damien. "You're both like family to me," Audra said. Nate couldn't figure out why Claire would lie. He observed that some of what Claire said held water. Audra said she could see Claire believing Kyle's lies because she's vulnerable over losing her father, Cole. How much more bad news can the girl take? The Vibrante creator shrugged. Audra said Kyle was lying to cover up his lust for Audra. She shared that Victor was right about Kyle the whole time, in that he was going to break Claire's heart. Nate wanted to know how Audra knew what Victor thought. Meanwhile, Holden caught up with Claire at Chancellor Park. Claire said there was no reason to protect Audra, so she told Holden that Audra was trying to gaslight her into thinking Kyle wanted her. Holden wondered why Audra would do that. Claire said that Audra made a deal with Victor, funding for Vibrante if she broke up Claire and Kyle. Holden said that was on brand for Audra. He said there's no way Audra would turn down a deal like that from Victor. Holden asked if there was any chance that Audra was not lying. Holden said that he had a history with Audra. He added that he found out the hard way that she had a way of getting to him. Holden doubted Kyle was as weak as he was. He told her Kyle hit the lottery when he found Claire. Holden apologized for casting any doubt on Kyle, but noted that Claire must have some doubts about him. "I hate that I do," Claire sighed. Meanwhile, Tessa thanked Daniel for helping her, and she put her hand on his. She said that ever since she and Mariah had split, that Daniel has been there for her. She told him how much she enjoyed his company. Daniel said he felt the same way Tessa did, that he could be happy. On Tuesday's episode of The Young and the Restless, Phyllis made a personal connection with Kane, as the two realized they've both given their children reason to distrust them. With Phyllis, it happened when she was pretending to be dead in 2023. With Kane, it's happening now because he was existing under the alias name of Aristotle Dumas for 6 years and was keeping it a secret from his children. Much of Tuesday's episode of The Young and the Restless revolved around Phyllis's new involvement with Kane, which she is already toasting to. When Phyllis shows this much enthusiasm for a business venture this early in the game, we know she's headed for trouble. She'd already made the mistake of calling herself his partner. He let her do most of the talking throughout the episode, but at the show's end, he thankfully shut down any illusions she might have by making it crystal clear that she is not his partner and not his equal. Even though she swallowed her pride and said she understood, this is Phyllis Summers. We suspect she isn't going to be thrilled about simply being his subordinate. Phyllis always talks big and has a lot of grand ideas to bring to the table. If she didn't, she wouldn't be Phyllis. So we suspect at some point this is going to cause some dissension between her and Kane. Phyllis rattled off the names of all the big companies she and Kane plan to take over: Newman Enterprises, Jabot, Chancellor, and Winters. Back up a second, Phyllis. Jabot. Once upon a time, Jack and Phyllis were one of the most popular super couples on The Young and the Restless. Even though they aren't together anymore, they've always been allies. So why on earth would she want to take Jack's company away from him? She knows his beloved father, John Abbott, founded Jabot, and Jack deserves to be at the helm, keeping their family business alive and thriving. Surely she knows that once Jack gets wind of what she and Kane are planning, he will likely sever all friendly ties with her for good. Yesterday on The Young and the Restless, Holden met Daniel for the first time at Society after Daniel overheard him talking on the phone to Kane. Since his mother Phyllis is working for Kane, Daniel tried to pump Holden for information out of concern that she may be in over her head. Holden was friendly, but a bit suspicious of his motives. "Are you digging for dirt on me?" he asked Daniel. That conversation is surely going to come into play once Daniel learns that Holden is Kane's partner, and Kane instructed him to make contacts with some of the big business people in Genoa City. When that happens, Daniel may have even more reason to worry that Phyllis has bitten off more than she can chew by teaming up with Kane. It's bad enough that she wants to go after Jabot, but Newman Enterprises also? Victor will never allow anyone, least of all Phyllis, to take his company from him. And how will she react when she learns that Holden is Kane's secret partner? Will she be able to work with him without overstepping, like she usually does? Right now, she seems to be under the impression that only she and Kane are involved in his business. He told her she wasn't his partner, but he has yet to tell her that someone else is his partner. Will she want to back out of the deal once she learns the truth? The Young and the Restless fan event wasn't the only fan gathering that took place last weekend. Melissa Claire Egan, who plays Chelsea, put the call out to her fellow soap stars to attend a gathering that supported some very special four-legged pals. Now, the actress is sharing how she feels about the support she received. "Thank you to everyone who came to support at Dharma Rescue at our event last Friday," Egan enthused on Instagram. "Wow, what a day! These disabled dogs and cats are so special. It means so much that you all showed up for them." Also, Egan continued, giving thanks to my fellow cast and actors that came to support. "You mean the world to me. It meant so much to have you all there. Thank you, thank you." A special thanks to all the Dharma volunteers. Also, at Christina Ganfor, at Maddie Kane 1, at Cosmopolitan, and at Kathia Thomas. I could not have done it without you. What Susan and Audrey do is so special. Please check them out at dharmarescue.org and donate, Egan concluded. "So sorry I missed it. What a great turnout," shared Elizabeth Hendrickson, who plays Chloe and is also one of the show's directors. Tracy Bregman also couldn't make it, but she's playfully looking at the bright side of her absence. "So sorry I missed it," Bregman wrote. "But it was probably for the best. I would have taken all the dogs home with me." "This is a wonderful organization," said J. Eddie Peck, who took his character Cole Howard to that great soap in the sky not that long ago. Dharma Rescue gives disabled dogs and cats a new leash on life. You can help too. Check them out. "You're amazing," wrote Carla Mosley, added Rebecca Budig. "Love you. Annie and Greenlee looking so friendly," commented at Absolute Mics, referring to the characters that Egan and Budig played on All My Children. I wonder, what would Ryan, Cameron Matheson, now Drew on General Hospital think? Greenlee and Jake, Peck's AMC character, were my ship back in the day, posted at Lexi Burke. Seeing J. Eddie Peck and Rebecca Budig in the same photo makes me want him to join B&B for Taylor. The Young and the Restless, recap for Thursday, August 21st, reveals that Victor Newman will ask Claire Newman's forgiveness and decide to allow her romance with Kyle Abbott, but more trouble is brewing. Once Devin Winters meets up with Nate Hastings in the park, he'll get updates on everything Claire said about Audra Charles and the plot to destroy her relationship with Kyle. Devin will buy the idea that Victor would order that, and will hear about the kiss Claire spotted between Kyle and Claire at Society 2. Nate will struggle over what to believe since everyone's pointing fingers in different directions. Devin will think Audra is the least trustworthy of the group, and will basically push Nate to trust his gut. Since Nate will have doubts about Audra, he'll seem afraid of the answer his gut will lead him to. At the ranch on Thursday's YNR episode, Victor will seem pensive as he flashes back to tense moments with Kyle and Claire. Nikki Newman will quiz Victor about what's wrong, but so he'll mention that it's about Claire and Kyle before heading off to settle this. At the Tack House, Claire will fill Victoria Newman in on what happened when she told Nate the truth about Audra's actions. Claire will rant about Audra lying and trying to spin everything around on Kyle. Victor will eventually show up and ask to speak with Claire alone, so Victoria will leave them to speak in private. Claire won't see what they have to talk about since Victor's made his stance crystal clear regarding Kyle. However, things will be different this time around. Victor will assure Claire that he's only ever wanted to protect her, but he'll promise he's not going to stand in the way of her relationship with Kyle anymore. Claire will seem skeptical at first, but Victor will convince her he's truly backing off and will even ask for forgiveness as they hug. At Society, Kyle will admit to Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott that he shared one kiss with Audra as part of his trap in Nice. Jack and Diane will feel like it'd be better to come clean to Claire now than risk a blow-up later. Kyle will refuse to cause Claire any more pain and will worry about how it'd look if she found out he'd been concealing that kiss. Victor will eventually call Kyle and summon him to the ranch, so he won't be looking forward to that meeting. Once Claire shows up, she'll urge Kyle to go since everything has changed. Claire will be delighted over Victor's change of heart regarding her romance with Kyle, so she'll spill the news to Jack, Diane, Victoria, and Nikki, too. Kyle will indeed end up at the ranch, where Victor will insist Kyle passed his test. Victor will assure Kyle that he won't try to block his relationship with Claire any longer, though he'll still be watching Kyle. At Crimson Lights, Audra will tell Sally Spectra about that witch, Claire exposing everything to Nate about Victor's plan, and the kiss she planted on Kyle. Audra will act like Claire is a drama queen who's being vindictive, but Sally will give her some tough love and point out this was the risk of entering that arrangement with Victor. Even so, Audra won't approve of Kyle playing the victim when he was only a towel away from betraying Claire on the bed in Nice. Audra will admit she blamed Kyle for everything and tried to do damage control, but Nate still slept on the couch. Nate will eventually show up and speak with Audra alone, so he'll refuse to let her dodge this discussion or feed him more lies. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate will be ready for the truth, since his instincts will tell him that Audra's deceiving him, so stay tuned to see her response. Young and the Restless, early weekly spoilers for August 25th through the 29th. We're going to talk about Billy Abbott's secret weapon and Nate Hastings walking out. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week and then dive into what's coming next week. On Wednesday, August 20th, look for Chelsea Lawson Newman and Adam Newman to be talking about the hit piece they did on Kane Ashby. It also took a swipe at Colin Atkinson. They are expecting revenge from his son. Meanwhile, Adam is no fan of Victor Newman's plan to ally with Kane, but Chelsea thinks Kane might agree. Chelsea also thinks her grifter days can help them with the coming battle. She is totally Team Newman now. She drank the Kool-Aid. Sally Spectra is launching AbbottCom next week. She invites Billy to be her +1 to the kickoff party. She's a little worried about not disappointing Jack Abbott, since it's all his money. Sally tells Billy that Audra Charles is going to be her secret weapon. But Billy's not sure they can trust her. Sally is worried about Billy versus Kane and the Newmans at the same time, but Billy has a secret weapon too. Sally and Billy run into Chelsea Newman and Adam. Sally lays into them for attacking Billy in the Kane article. Sally is stunned that Chelsea is doing Victor's dirty work. Adam says everything they wrote was true. Billy tells Chelsea to redeem herself by covering Sally's launch of AbbottCom. Adam is like, why would we cover the launch of a competitor? Chelsea says congratulations to Sally. Adam thinks the company is in much better hands with her than Billy, which is pretty funny. Adam is also mocking Billy for being at loose ends, but he says he's got exciting new things happening. Once they go, Chelsea tells Adam she actually does think Billy is cooking up something, or he wouldn't give AbbottCom to Sally. Holden Novak talks about being on a dating TV show, but he tells Claire, Grace Newman, Daniel Romalotti, and Tessa Porter that his reality TV career was over because of a producer on the show that he had ghosted. Holden just hopes to find a woman who's impressed that he learned from his past. All four of them look as Audra and Nate enter. Claire decides now's the time. She goes over and tells Nate that Audra cut a deal with Victor. Victor would fund her company if she seduced Kyle Abbott and split them. Of course, Audra denies it and says Kyle was chasing her in France. Claire says Kyle wouldn't have even been there if Audra didn't drag him along for her lame perfume plot. Claire tells Nate about the kiss she saw the other day in town. Audra tries to blame that on Kyle as well. Claire says Audra failed, and that's why Victor dropped her. Claire advises Nate to just ask Victor about it if he wants confirmation on Young and the Restless. Claire exits with Holden hot on her heels. Holden asks Claire, "What if Kyle did do what Audra said? Because, both things can be true." Holden tells Claire he's got some experience with Audra's charm and that she is hard to resist. But Holden says Kyle won the lottery with Claire. We all know Holden wants to steal Kyle's winning lottery ticket. Claire admits to Holden that she's got some doubts about Kyle's choices. Holden is very nice to her. Tessa takes Daniel's hand when they are all alone and says she's great. He is happy to hear Tessa saying that he's a bright spot in her life, along with her daughter, Aria Porter. Tessa says, when she's with him, she feels like she could be happy again. Daniel says he feels the same way. Nate tells Audra it's been the worst day. He buried his brother Damian Kane. Amy Lewis is struggling. Audra says she's sorry Claire picked that day to lie to him, and then gets mad when she's pretty sure Nate believes Claire. Nate says Claire and Kyle have zero reason to lie to him. Also, Nate says everything Claire said lines up with the timelines of what he knows are true. He's not experienced Claire telling him any lies. Audra claims it's Kyle who is lying and has tricked Claire, but Nate doesn't think she's that gullible. Audra says Victor's right about it, and Kyle will break Claire's heart. That seals it. Nate says, "How would you even know what Victor thinks about any of this if you weren't doing business with him?" Well, Audra's mouth got her busted. Thursday, August 21st, Victor makes a decision that shocks people. This could be about the Kane alliance. It could be about him telling Claire he's going to drop his vendetta against Kyle, which I would not believe for a moment. Also, Jack gives Kyle some advice. I'm sure it's about his situation with Claire, Victor, and Audra and the mess. Nate spends some time with Devin Winters, bringing him up to speed. I'm sure Nate's going to tell Devin about Damian's funeral, about his concerns about Amy Lewis, and the mess with Audra Charles. Devin and Lily Winters don't like her, and they've made no bones about it. So I'm sure Devin's going to tell Nate to just cut your losses. Friday, August 22nd. Phyllis Summers gets to work on her first assignment from Kane. I wonder if he's going to task Phyllis to spy on Nick Newman or somebody else close to her. Kane might want her to mess with Nick and Sharon Newman in their reunion. Nate gets fed up with Audra Charles and demands to know the whole truth. Nate is ready to push her hand and wants it all out on the table. August 25th through the 29th. Next week, we've got Adam talking to Victor about this idea of an alliance with Kane. Nick is on board. Chelsea is leaning into it too, but Adam may need some convincing. Victor is one of those just do what I say type of people. Billy Abbott is excited to get his hands on Chancellor without Kane's help. The big question is, what is his secret weapon? I mean, it might be Jill Abbott, but that seems unlikely since she has remained close to Kane. Nick and Sharon dive into their fresh start. Look for romance soon, kisses, and more. But will they have interference from somebody with red hair? Nate is leaning on Victoria Newman. I'm sure Nate's going to open up about what Claire told him about Audra working with Victor and trying to seduce Kyle Abbott. The thing is, Victoria can absolutely confirm yes, she knows this is all true. She even confronted her dad about it. So when Nate and Victoria talk, that's going to ice the cake. There's no way he can trust Audra after this. It is the worst time in the world for this to come out, considering his family stress and them grieving. But when it rains, it pours, right? Claire and Kyle may soon be on shaky ground. Claire spoke her inner fears to Holden, that she can't be sure Kyle didn't cross any lines. Our spoilers say Claire makes a tough decision soon. She may end her relationship with Kyle. Tessa and Daniel's connection deepens. They are getting closer. The dynamic is slowly shifting. Obviously, Mariah Copeland still has a hand in this. We still don't know if she killed the old guy or is just feeling guilty because she tried to kill him. Kane is getting closer to Phyllis now. We all know Kane is all about Lily. Getting back with her is his singular focus in life. But Phyllis may keep trying to shift his attention to her, like we've seen her do this week. Meanwhile, Audra is furious. She is going to have nothing left but her job at Abbottcom. I wonder if she is going to just flip out, come after Claire Kyle, and others she blames like Victor, and maybe try and use Abbottcom to target those she blames. I will say if Audra wants to slap at Victor using Abbottcom, Billy is probably totally on board, but he's not the boss. Welcome back, YNR fans. Spoilers for next week in Genoa City reveal a tangled web closing in on Amanda, Kane, Victor, and Phyllis, transforming every relationship into a high-stakes chessboard where each move is a potential checkmate. What began as a simple crisis management solution following the chaos in Nice has spiraled into a series of unpredictable legal and ethical dilemmas. The situation ignites when the threat of a corporate mole emerges, planted through a hasty and explosive hiring mistake. It is this very crisis that forces Amanda Sinclair's return. Having stepped away to recover from exhaustion, she is pulled back not only by Kane Ashby's plea for help, but also by a clandestine deal with Victor Newman, a deal that could bring everything crashing down. At the heart of the storm is Kane, who has always relied on Amanda as his legal and strategic firewall. He believed every contract was ironclad and every loophole was covered. The trouble started with a new investment opportunity brought in by a recently hired HR executive. The hire was rushed, the due diligence reports were suspiciously flawless, and the individual seemed almost too perfect. For Kane, the lingering memory of Victor's past dealings raised a chilling question. Was he harboring an enemy within his own walls? Simultaneously, Victor, a master of layered machinations, recognized Amanda as the legal key he needed. He approached her with a classic combination of pressure and persuasion. He subtly reminded her of professional confidentiality obligations while also hinting at damaging information he could expose, from potential complaints related to Nice to conflicts of interest in her past work. His proposition was clear: cooperate tacitly by providing information, and her own professional vulnerabilities would remain buried. Trapped between her duty to her client and the threat to her own career, Amanda found herself in an impossible gray area. However, an unlikely ally emerged: Phyllis Summers. With her keen radar for intrigue, Phyllis saw Victor's scheme not as a threat, but as an opportunity. She proposed a daring counter-espionage plan. They would use the mole to turn the tables. Under Phyllis's guidance, Amanda would create a signal cage. She would pretend to cooperate with Victor's plant, but every piece of information she accidentally leaked would be a decoy, digitally watermarked and tagged. When the mole passed this bait along, their trap would not only reveal the spy's identity, but also map out the entire communication chain leading back to the source. The plan was a resounding success. Amanda fed the new executive carefully crafted, false strategic documents. Within hours, Phyllis's tracking software lit up, showing the decoys being accessed by a shell corporation with undeniable ties to Newman Enterprises. The trap had been sprung. With concrete proof of outside interference, the narrative shifted. Kane confronted the security breach, learning a harsh lesson about personnel and trust. Amanda, armed with Phyllis's evidence, successfully neutralized the legal threats against her, proving the suspicions were a result of external manipulation, not professional misconduct. Victor, ever the strategist, cut his losses cleanly, sacrificing his pawn and the intermediary company to maintain deniability. On the surface, the crisis has been averted. But in Genoa City, peace is merely the quiet between storms. The game has changed, the players are wiser, and the battle lines have been redrawn for the next, inevitable confrontation. Find out why viewers are saying that Audra is not what she seems. Audra claims she's a cutthroat businesswoman who knows exactly what to say at the right moment. Interestingly enough, She was speechless when Victor called her for not fulfilling his mission. It was simple. All she had to do was break up Kyle and Claire. And she failed. Viewers of The Young and the Restless claim that Audra has been pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. The conversation started on one soap opera board. The original poster had an interesting question. Why didn't Audra make up a story for Victor? She had an interesting pitch for her affair with Kyle. Why couldn't she use that to spin a story and convince Victor that they slept together? Y&R fans believe that Audra is not who she portrays herself to be. She was described as someone who was quick-witted and business-savvy, who always had an elevator pitch, ready to go. I'm surprised about that as well. Audra finds it so easy to lie about anything and everything. You'd think that she could come up with something to appease Victor, one person responded. Other fans can see right through her. Audra could be talking a big game. She's also two-bit slick, and not the shrewd businesswoman that she thinks she is. I wish the character would take a long, hard look at herself and do better, be better, someone else wrote. Bingo, I couldn't agree more. Audra is not nearly as savvy as she thinks she is, one person responded. Audra can't tell a lie to save her life, but she's even worse at telling the truth. She's avoiding it like she's playing a game of dodgeball. One person wrote, she keeps skirting around the truth with Nate. Better if she tells him what happened than if Claire does. Another person agreed, writing, she did a lot of skirting. Even a blind man could tell she was telling lie after lie to cover her rump. It's hard to outsmart Victor. He's too smart to know when she's lying. If she concocted a lie, he would send a reign of terror after her. While Victor has no problem with stretching the truth, he hates it when someone else does the same to him. He demands the truth from those who are crazy enough to work with him, but he doesn't uphold the same standard, which puts Audra in a difficult spot.